Today on Gun Talk Nation, we are on location in Illinois. I'm talking with Matt Rice from Bushnell. We're doing some turkey hunting, and we're also talking about everything else that Bushnell has been up to. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by 4 Patriots, RangeReadyStudios.com, Silencer Central, Remington Ammunition, and Armscor. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation on location from deep in the heartland of Illinois with Matt Rice from Bushnell. How's it going, man?
Good, Ryan. How are you, man?
Good to see you. So we are out in Illinois, and we're doing a fun little weird hunt. I mean, it's a turkey hunt, but there's some wrinkles to this. This is fairly high tech.
It is a high tech hunt.
Yeah.
We've got high tech transportation. We've got high tech optics.
Yeah.
We got a high tech app navigating us through it. It is definitely a little bit different than most people's turkey hunts, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just a heads up, if you're watching this, you go, yeah, this is obviously different. If you're listening to it, it's going to sound a little bit different because we're kind of in the, I don't know what you call this, the shed barn. And we're trying to get away from the wind. We're trying to manage all this stuff, make it look decent and sound decent. So it's pretty gusty out there. And behind us are dozens and dozens of tree stands.
And there's dozens and dozens still out on the property too. I'm sure you probably noticed that.
It's unreal. This place is unreal. Performance Outdoors.
Performance Outdoors, yeah. Justin and Jacob Roach, 2 brothers that started Quiet Cat, have also put together this kind of outfitting business that they're doing as well. So they're lucky enough to open the doors for us this week, so we're here.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, and they actually had this before they had Quiet Cat.
They did. So they've been, I don't know how many years that they've been hunting out of this location, or at least outfitting, but they've owned property here for a while.
Yeah.
So they're both very familiar with the land. And then as other parcels and sections have become open, they've kind of been able to add on and lease some and share some.
Pick up some good
they exchange some turkey
pieces.
hunting for some deer pieces. So yeah, I think they've got lots of land to tap into.
And there are some monster deer here.
There are some nice deer. I was fortunate to take a nice buck last year, but looking around the lodge, you can't really see above us, but some of the specimens hanging on the wall up here.
Yeah,
it's a high quality deer operation for
sure. So, I mean, this morning was first morning of a several day hunt, and for me, we saw some turkeys. We didn't get a turkey yet. You didn't get a turkey
didn't
yet.
Get one yet.
But let's talk about like the stuff we're using.
Sure.
And I mean, I'm gonna just reach around here and grab this setup. So Stoeger M3500 semi-auto shotgun, and then of course it has Bushnell on top.
Exactly. Great pairing.
The RX300?
RXM300.
M300.
Yeah.
Okay.
RXM300 is our brand new dot. We introduced it at SHOT Show. Actually be out probably in mass here at the end of June. Okay. So from today, we're talking probably 30, 60 days we'll be out live.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been on the range with you. I've shot the RX100 and the 250.
Yes.
Which are cool.
Yep.
Great.
Very nice dots for us. Kind of set the groundwork, our kind of baseline of where we wanted to re-enter the market. We've had a lot of red dots through Bushnell, but we haven't really had a lot of pistol compatible red dots right out of the box. So that was kind of the next step, if you will. But with any red dot, you want to make it more than just a one-trick pony. So making it compatible for what we're doing now was definitely in the forethought as our product team and Travis was putting this together.
Talk about the 300. So I mean, it's bigger.
It is bigger.
And where did it come from?
So really, this was built in collaboration with Casey Asubio. For those who might not be familiar with that name, world-class pistol shooter. Grateful to have him on the Bushnell team now for almost 4 years. Very speed shooter.
Yeah.
Steel shooting, where you're going fast, insanely fast.
Yeah.
Multiple targets.
5 targets in 2 seconds.
Yeah, and then
kind of nonsense.
Exactly. And then a lot of base USPSA. So Casey's also a big hunter. He's been getting into hunting these last 50 years. He's insane with it. To put it lightly, no offense, Casey, if you're listening to this or watching, but he loves it, and that's awesome because now you get to tap into somebody who's obviously well established in the competition world, but now who's also a new hunter, becoming more of an efficient, proficient hunter.
Yeah.
So he's been able to input from both sides as somebody who's getting into hunting, and then obviously somebody who's well versed in all the firearms.
And obviously, when Casey shoots like speed steel matches, he's shooting like an open gun, right? Open
yeah,
division.
it's an open gun, open race gun. So those things are all tricked out. They're designed to operate extremely fast. I mean, the slide, the reciprocating is insane compared to what somebody's normal CCW or home protection gun is. I mean, those things have been optimized to high performance. So when we're looking at a red dot for that application, you have to think recoil. This is a gun that's going to get a lot of recoil. It's going to get shot a lot,
and
it's going to be
of rounds.
successive recoil, right? A lot of people might shoot once or twice and they've been done with it. KC shooting 20, 30 rounds and then waiting 5 minutes to his next stage and then 20, 30 rounds again.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, I was thinking about this because this dot is designed by KC, who's a pistol shooter and shooting speed matches. But obviously it works fantastic on shotguns. We're using it on turkey guns. Do you know, because I know that the dot is riding along the slide and it's going back and forth and it's slamming forward and backward. And then you've put this on a 12 gauge shotgun, which is also, we're shooting freaking 2 ounces or
TSS,
2.5 TSS. I mean, this is like basically the heaviest loads you can shoot, really. Is one worse than another on the dot?
Actually, I think the pistol, if you look at it, that short travel that it's going and then the speed of which it's going and constantly resetting, like this M3500, it's inertia driven, so it's a little bit lighter recoiling.
Yeah, it helps.
You think about it as in a 12 gauge, it's going to be worse, but really when you start looking at some of those pistols like in 38 Super or some of those calibers that are really kicking out a lot of muzzle velocity, that's actually a little bit worse on red dots, as is if you put them on a big Magnum, which Casey has done, we've all done. And when you put them on a 44 Magnum, put them on a 460 and 500 S&W, then you're really not only doing recoil, but a lot of torque and twist, as those guns around the frame are exhibiting a lot of different energy, and it actually kind of twists the dot as well as recoiling it. So
what's cool about this, and I think it certainly applies to moving this over as a defensive application too, red dot on a shotgun. We're sighting in yesterday and talk about the patterns and the importance of being able to be precise with this.
Sure, yeah. I mean, so with that TSS load that we're shooting from Federal, it's a very high density shot shell load. They've optimized it for turkey, obviously, as we're talking about. I'm sure the Federal guys will get a little bit more granular on that round, but you're shooting a very tight pattern, especially through a turkey choke at a short range. So when you think about that pattern going out and aiming at a small object like a turkey head, you got to think about relation to how far am I away from that target, and then how many pellets am I putting into that 10-inch circle around its head or a model of its wattle where you're aiming at.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to calculate that. It's almost like getting hit with throwing a baseball up front real close, but as you back out, that spread will open up. But the way the TSS is designed is really to keep that pattern nice and tight. So when you go with the aim, being able to put everything into that impact circle is extremely important.
Yeah. So I spent about, 7 hours behind this optic today. I didn't shoot anything, but I had it ready at all times. I got a weird question for you.
Sure.
There are 2 holes up here. What's up with that?
So we call those our speed cut holes. They're actually just them been crimped on the material, and it actually makes the geometry of the hood much more stable for impact, abrasions, or impact.
Oh, like if you were like to drop the gun, drop it on the optic.
Falls on the optic itself. I mean, our X350 and our 300 are mil-spec rated, so they are withstand that FBI drop test. But when you start thinking about the geometry of the hood and where it could impact, actually making that small design that Travis came up with, it actually has increased the durability of the dot on the outside. So I'm surprised you noticed that, because I didn't mention that in the presentation. Because when we call it speed cuts, we're like, okay, what does it do for speed? Well, it's just, as marketing speak, it's just a neat way to classify it, but it's actually to reinforce the integrity.
Yeah, when you're sitting behind a gun for hours and hours, staring at it, you go, what are those holes for? That's weird.
Yep, that's exactly what it's for.
That's awesome. So other stuff, we're using on this hunt. I got some binos. And Bushnell, you guys came out with a Bino Harness, which I was like, and it's not just like we found a Bino Harness and put our name on it, right?
No, not at all. Yeah, this was really a design that the team spent a lot of survey work on, going out there, looking at the market, looking at some of the competitors out there and how we could differentiate, because there's no shortage of caddies when you look at the market. So if you're going to package something with your optics, you want it to have some special features, and I think again it really knocks it out of the park. Closed magnetic design, fully encases your binos. We're running the Fusion X, most guys on this hunt, so it's a 10x42. There's actually a shelf within, so small things like that. So if I'm gonna run a pair of 8x42s or a smaller configuration, that shelf keeps everything nice and level. Very accessory friendly with our LRF pouch. Obviously you don't need it because you've got the all-in-one package, but you've got multiple attachment points. You've got some internal pockets on the inside, places to store stuff, your built-in lens cleaner cloth. So, quiet, efficient, and we wanted to design it so when you're bending over, you're doing those more unconventional movements, nobody wants their bino falling out and hitting the ground.
And you mentioned the shelf, but just to kind of explain for those who are just listening to this. I mean, if I have these 10 power binoculars, which are longer.
Yep, those are longer than most 10x42s.
Yeah, because they have the rangefinder. I mean, an 8 power regular binos dropped in here in a regular one, it kind of gets lost.
It does. It can fall down in. It can make that quickly picking it out, especially if you've got gloves on or you're.
So you got about
layers.
a half-inch, 3/4 inch shelf.
So being able to just grab that around the eyepiece or
it's
where
cool.
you would index it makes it extremely fast.
Talk about the background of Bushnell with laser rangefinders, because you guys were kind of one of the first ones out there.
We were. We just celebrated our 25th year last year, so it's 25 years. We were the first person to build the first commercial laser rangefinder. Along the way, we've helped pioneer a lot of the things that are commonplace: ARC technology, scan mode. We had the first Bluetooth-capable rangefinder. So there's a lot of that we have helped kind of set, and then now it's almost become table stakes in some rangefinders that are able to shoot 1,000 yards, 1,800 yards, a mile, etc. So we have a rich history in laser rangefinders, and that was really a goal of ours these last 3 years, was to regain that market share. And I'm happy to say today we are back into that #1 market share of laser rangefinders.
And you guys have some new stuff coming with laser rangefinders, right?
We do. We've got some really neat stuff coming. We really kind of started it with the broadhead. That was an archery-based rangefinder, but where we're setting ourselves apart is guaranteeing that accuracy on any target. So with the broadhead, we're saying 0.3 yards accuracy with 150 yards. So whatever shape of target, whatever color of target, 3D shooters out there, just targets you might engage in the natural, getting that constant repeatability and reflectability and having that consistent yardage is table stakes, is paramount. And so we want to take that further. So on our new Prime 3000 and 4000, we're going to guarantee out to 1 yard, and in some cases a half a yard out at those farther differences. So that's something that's really nothing. 3,000 yard ranging capability, and being able to say between 2,000 and 3,000, we're going to be like plus or minus 1 yard. When you go in between like 2,000 or 1,000 or below, we can get half a yard. So it's amazing what they've been able to do with those and proving that consistent accuracy. Because with archery, obviously 150 yards, if you're off a yard, 2 yards, it could be a miss. It could be a wounded animal, something you don't recover, miss the bullseye. But when you start looking into shooting,
like extreme long range.
Exactly. You start getting at that 1,000 yard, 800 yards, 1 or 2 yards that your rangefinder is telling you not is a huge difference in where that bullet's going to impact at distance.
That's wild.
It is. If you stop and think about the repeatability and accuracy in your rangefinder, and I encourage listeners, viewers at home, go get your rangefinder. Go set a known distance, walk it off, measure it, however you want to do it, and then put some different targets out there. Put some blacks, put some reds, put some whites, things that are going to actually maybe absorb that laser and you don't get that bounce back, and just see what the difference is, and then go try it with some of the new Bushnells, and I think you'll be very pleasantly pleased with what the Bushnell's doing, and maybe not as confident in the rangefinder you are using.
That's really interesting. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. After the break, I want to get a couple, if you have any pro tips for someone who's using a rangefinder, and also want to talk about your scopes. On Gun Talk Nation, you guys are always about being prepared. And that's why I like this sponsor, 4patriots.com. They have a generator, but it's not a typical gas generator that can cause monoxide poisoning, carbon monoxide poisoning. It's a new, portable, safe, silent, 100% fume-free solar generator. The Patriot Power Generator is quiet as a laptop, powerful enough for your fridge. Get 10% off when you make your first purchase at 4patriots.com by using code GTN. Get the Patriot Power Generator from 4patriots.com today. Sig Sauer, they do guns, they do optics, they do ammo, they do silencers. Well, they also have a new program called Shoot Sig, and it started this year. It's new. It's a competition aimed at getting you from the house to the range in a fun and approachable atmosphere. Become a member of Shoot Sig, and you will enjoy fun and safe firearms ownership in a friendly environment and gain access to exclusive member-only benefits. It's founded by Team SIG professional Daniel Horner. Shoot Sig is a membership community that welcomes all levels of firearms enthusiasts. They're going to have competitions. You get 15% off at the web store cart. And, you also access to the purchase, the Shoot Sig Gun of the Year, and much more. Be on the lookout. There may be a Shoot Sig coming somewhere that you know very soon. You can learn more at sigsauer.com. As we get into spring and summer, a lot of people start thinking about target shooting and clay shooting. One of the companies that makes it easy, Remington Ammo, they have the Gun Club 12 gauge loads. These are Gun Club for the cure. And here's what you need to know about it. Remington Gun Club target loads are an excellent choice for economical shooting, like that, featuring Gun Club grade shot, premier STS primers, power piston one-piece wads. High-quality shells receive the same care and loading as their top-of-the-line premier STS and Nitro 27 shells. Reloadable shell designed to stretch your shooting dollar. And it's destined to help real families nationwide. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of the ammunition benefits children's hospitals and disease research, meaning your day at the trap, skeet, or sporting clays course gives back to those in need. You can learn more at Remington.com. Ruger makes a whole lot of guns, and they make a lot of nice guns for concealed carry. One of the hot ones from them is the Max 9, and now you can get the Max 9. It's not just red dot ready, it has the Ruger Ready Dot on top. So it comes with the optic, and this is a different type of dot. The Ready Dot is a micro reflex sight using a very large 15 MOA aiming dot. Easy to find the dot. We like that. Light gathering from fiber optic makes it automatically adjust to light conditions. It's waterproof, shock resistant, no batteries or buttons. So very reliable, very simple. You can learn more at Ruger.com. Silencer Central makes it easy to buy silencers. We like that. They actually have an offer going on right now. The BOGO sale, buy a Banish 30, get a Banish 22K. They're back with their limited time offer. So I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but go over to silencercentral.com to learn more. Obviously, they also can make it very easy to buy a silencer, handling all the paperwork. They email you what you need to do. They might mail you a little fingerprint card, and they make it very easy. You can actually take your Find Your Silencer quiz and download the buyer's guide over at silencercentral.com. And while you're waiting, they'll even thread your barrel. I like that. Silencercentral.com. Armscor and Rock Island Armory, they make firearms, they make ammo, they make parts and accessories. One of the ones that's a little bit different that you probably hear about occasionally is the TCM. When choosing a firearm for home defense, think about what matters. Accuracy, light recoil, ease of use, velocity. The TCM checks all those boxes, and it's easy to handle. Anyone in the family can use it. Each TCM model comes with the high-capacity 17-round magazine and fires their proprietary 22 TCM round, which has been reimagined in full nickel for improved performance. They load it in the TCM standard. These are 1911 style guns. They also have a double stack. So we like this. Lots of power, low recoil. Go check them out over at armscor.com. So Matt, you've used laser rangefinders over the years. Are there any tips that you have for somebody who's either doing it for target shooting or for hunting? Is there kind of a right and a wrong way? Or, I mean,
Yeah.
You're looking at trees and bushes and targets.
You know, I think one of the easiest things for people to memorize with, to keep in your memory when you're using a laser rangefinder is you need to be steady. So however you can support that laser rangefinder with your hand. A lot of ours now have the tripod adapters, so it's a 10x20 thread. So having stable ranging platform is crucial, because I think at long times at short distance, it's easy to kind of be, yep, I got it.
Sure.
But when you're trying to hit a small target out at distance, being able and be very defined and precise with that laser. So I would say having a good steady support, and also not necessarily ranging the target and saying I'm done. A big thing that we've learned, and as I'm sure you have going through different training academies, is range below the target, range behind the target, range to the left or the right, range the target again. Get those readings and see for yourself if there's any variance in maybe the background.
Sure.
But that will help make sure you're more accurate in predicting or understanding the yardage.
It's a good point.
You're truly shooting.
You got your target and you can ranger it, and it's 290 yards. If you just go with that, who knows?
Exactly.
But you go in front of it and it's giving you 250. Go, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Past it, okay, it's giving me 350. Okay, that makes sense. I'm back on it. Oh, it's 291. It's 290. It's 289. Okay, that seems consistent.
Yeah, and while that beam is going to diverge at distance, we're doing everything we can to optimize it, to keep it as narrow and as far as we can, so you don't get that big wide spread when it gets down at 1,000-yard range. But still, there is going to naturally be some limitations of the laser as it's going out. So you being stable and then referencing multiple points, I think for a lot of users will increase their comfortability and probably predictability in those ranges.
And you said it, but just in case they didn't hear it, a lot of people probably don't think about putting a laser rangefinder on a tripod. It's always handheld, and
Sure.
even in the marketing, a lot of times
Yep.
it's handheld.
Yep.
But that makes a ton of sense, especially if we're talking about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 yards.
On the PRS world, you won't see anybody. You will at limited distance. I do it, but most guys have it mounted on their tripod somewhere on there where it's all in one stable unit, so it's easy to move it around. It's keeping everything on a nice normal plane, and then it's easy reference for anybody who wants to use it. But yeah, having that stability is really key.
Now, do you guys increase the magnification on something that's going out to those types of
So most of our
distances?
rangefinders now are 6X.
Okay.
That is a step up. There's a lot of rangefinders out there that are 4X. One of the big things that we've done is we're going to an all glass system. There are lots of plastic lenses still being used. So
wow.
the quality of the lenses not only helps out with the performance of the rangefinder, but it also makes your viewing so much better.
Yeah.
Right? You get a true tone. You get a nice what we kind of call a true to life view downrange. So that's a big deal, having that all glass lenses in there. We've also increased the size of most of our rangefinders, the objective lens. So it's about twice as big as it was. So we're letting in more light. So in a lot of instances, our rangefinders, Prime 17, Prime 1800, we're claiming 2 times brighter than rangefinders in its class. And that's really crucial in a hunting scenario, as I think a lot of people underestimate how much light potential you lose with a rangefinder, right?
Yeah.
In those early morning, late hours. So,
Well, we talk about it in scopes and binos.
and if you're an archery hunter, you might not ever carry your binos, right? A lot of guys just use that 6 power because that's all they need because they're shooting a small distance. So
Right.
if it's early morning and they can't pull that up, see that deer, be able to say, okay, that's that buck, or yes, he's got a drop tine on that one side, that could be a big make or break on what they consider a success. But it also just gives them that reassurance. It's like, okay, I see it, it's clear, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
It's all confidence, as you know, right?
Yeah.
Shooting, hunting, if you're confident, you're going to be so much better in everything you do. So the little things that you can do to build that solid foundation is going to exponentially
Worst thing you
improve
can
your
do.
shooting.
Worst thing you can do is second guess yourself on stuff.
Oh, always, especially when it comes to hunting, because everything's happening so fast. Like you go to the range, you usually have time to set up, get your shooting bag set up, get your tripod all nice and neat, your spotting scope, everything's
perfect.
Yeah, you've built it to like make whatever I'm doing efficient and quick. But when you get outside, you've got wind, you've got light, you've got tree branches, you've got all this noise, and not to mention the activity of what you're doing in hunting, where that animal could come out at any place, and they often do, is not where you expect them to come.
Yeah. So what about scopes? Anything new to talk about with scopes with you guys?
So yeah, we've got some big things coming. I can't really divulge everything that we've got coming, so that's always a classic leave you hanging on what we got going. But you're going to see a lot of improvement with us and our continuation of our rifle scopes, delivering a lot more hunting, combining with some of the tactical features that people have been asking for. So and our baseline, one of the big things that we've been doing on some of our second focal plane scopes is being able to offer custom turrets that are actually calibrated to specific cartridges. So,
cool.
So somebody who's wanted to get into long distance shooting but has always felt himself in a second focal plane, now by say taking off and putting on the 308 or the 223, they can actually have a little bit more confidence and get used to that dialing aspect. So now the turrets are indicated by yardages, so I can go, okay, 150 yards, turn it, and I'm going to be fairly close. So that's a neat way to make it accessible for people who are comfortable with a second focal plane but want to start kind of dabbling in, ranging to a target and actually dialing instead of holding over or under. So we've had a lot of success with that in our prime models, and we've come out with some new ones like the 450 Bushmaster, some of the more, is it 450? 450 Legend.
350
Legend, sorry, I get them all confused.
And that's one that those lower, it's not a slow bullet, but a little bit lower velocity, you can really benefit from being precise on your turrets.
Yeah, it's just giving you that comfortability to now to know it. Hey, I've sighted this thing in at 150. I've maybe shot out to 200, but now that deer, that antelope, he's not coming in past 250.
12-point buck even.
Now I can dial to that, and maybe I'm not going, okay, I need to be 6 inches above his shoulder, or measuring the deer. Now you're using your reticle and your scope to give you that accuracy on there.
The guy that says, I'm not going to shoot past 200 with this gun, and then he walks out at 240, and you go,
Yeah, I think I better try.
I'm gonna give this a shot, so to speak.
I'm gonna let one go. So yeah, again, like you said, having that comfortability, getting everything, and knowing what your gear can do is a great tip for all things.
Yeah. So what's your strategy tomorrow?
Strategy tomorrow, obviously kill a turkey. I'm shooting the 250, which you had a lot of familiar with out at Gunsight when we released
got that on a full-size
couple
Glock.
years ago. So another great dot from us. 10 brightness settings, 4 MOA. So I'm gonna put this bad boy right on the turkey's head, and I'm gonna hopefully make him do the flop right after that. So we'll see how it goes. We're supposed to get a cold front tomorrow or tonight coming in. So the weather's going to change a little bit. I don't know if you were hot or thought it was cold this morning. I think it's hard to know what it's going to do to turkeys. They're not as probably movement indicative of weather like deer are.
Yeah.
I would imagine it might keep them on the roost a little bit longer if it's icy or there's stuff on the ground. Might make them a little bit slower to get some areas and feed. They might be a little more lackadaisical in movement, but they're still gonna have to do the same things they did. They still have to eat. They still have to drink. They're still gonna go roost. So, their time in which they do that might be staggered a little bit. But hopefully, we have no issues.
Should be fun, man.
What's your game plan tomorrow?
Well, Andy, the guy who I'm hunting with, is trying to convince me to go across this river that can't be crossed, and we think we found a boat, a loner boat.
Nice.
And I'm not kidding. So stay tuned for that. We'll see if we are going to try to cross this river that on a loner boat. I mean,
just
dude,
making sure you have your PFD on, and then everything will be good, and we'll have a buoy ready for you on the side of the boat in case you go overboard. You boys, we don't know what you might see something in there. You just have to grab.
Oh, I know.
Just jump right in.
We'll go noodling.
I'm surprised you just aren't already across it, to be honest.
I considered it, and I saw how fast the water was moving. So if I survive it, it might make a good story.
There you go.
All right, Matt. Thanks for being on with us.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, man. Good luck for you tomorrow, and hopefully we're back here with a more positive look for both of us at the end of the day, 2 or 3.
Turkeys are going down tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation. To see all of Gun Talk's content, go to guntalk.com, guntalktv.com, or sign up for the Gun Talk newsletter.